Assalamu alaikum, my dear brothers and sisters. Have you ever felt a deep, unexplainable connection with someone? Like it was meant to be, like your souls recognized each other? It felt beautiful, spiritual, so real, so right. You thought, this is it. This is who Allah has written for me. But then, everything started to fall apart. Things got strange. Small problems turned into big ones. The communication faded. Confusion crept in. Doors that once seemed open suddenly slammed shut again and again. And in the middle of all this, your heart whispered painful questions. Was it me? Did I mess this up? Was I not good enough? But today, I want to invite you to see this from a new light. What if this wasn't your fault at all? What if this heartbreak wasn't a curse, but a blessing in disguise? What if this was never rejection, but Allah's protection? Because sometimes the ending you didn't want is actually the beginning you truly needed. Sometimes when something slips away from your hands, it's only because Allah is making space for something better. You just don't see it yet. Allah reminds us of this truth in the Qur'an. But perhaps you hate a thing, and it is good for you. And perhaps you love a thing, and it is bad for you. And Allah knows, while you know not. Surah Al-Baqarah 2216. Subhanallah, just reflect on that. You may have wanted this person with your entire heart, but Allah, in His infinite wisdom, sees what's ahead. He sees the tears you haven't cried yet, the heartbreaks waiting down that path. And so, He gently steers you away. Even when it hurts, even when you don't understand, He protects you. So in this video, we're going to explore something deeply important. The clear signs that Allah might be showing you when someone simply isn't meant to be your spouse. These signs are subtle, but real, and so often we miss them or ignore them because our emotions get in the way, but not anymore. Today we're going to open our eyes and our hearts to what Allah might be trying to show us. Because I promise you, Allah never lets your heart walk blindly into something harmful. He always sends signs, little lanterns in the darkness. You just have to learn how to recognize them. So stay with me until the end of this video. What you hear today might completely change how you look at that heartbreak you've been carrying. Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't a painful loss. Maybe it was a divine lifeline. Sign 1. When everything falls apart for no clear reason, a hidden mercy. You did everything right. You planned, you prayed, you were sincere, intentional, respectful. You believed with all your heart that this person was the one, your future, your partner, in deen and dunya. The conversations were honest. The intentions were pure. Even your families seemed ready to come together. And then, out of nowhere, it all collapsed. No major sin, no betrayal, no drama. Just everything falling apart without warning, no explanation, no closure, just closed doors. And you're left there, confused and heartbroken, asking yourself, why? What did I do wrong? But here's what I want you to know. This moment, this painful, confusing, lonely moment, could actually be divine intervention in disguise. Because Allah doesn't always intervene with loud, dramatic signs. Sometimes He intervenes in silence, in the quiet closing of a door that you thought was yours. You tried your best. You followed the Islamic way. You kept your intentions clean. You made dua. You waited patiently. But when things fall apart for no clear reason, despite your sincere efforts, That's not rejection. That's protection. It's not failure. It's Allah shielding your heart from future pain. He sees what's hidden. He knows what's ahead. And even though it hurts right now, He's guiding you away from something that could break you in ways you don't yet understand. Sometimes, Allah's way of saying, I love you, is by saying, not this. Because what your heart desires isn't always what your soul needs. What you want may feel right today, but Allah knows what will still be right 10 years from now. And here's something you might have noticed in that moment. You start to feel drained, tired, spiritually numb, like you're holding on to something that's slowly breaking you from the inside. Don't ignore that feeling. That emptiness is not random. That heaviness in your chest is not meaningless. It's your soul trying to tell you, this isn't for me, and that's okay. It's a sign, a signal from Allah, so trust Him. Even when you don't understand, even when your heart still aches. Trust that His no today is preparing you for a much better yes tomorrow. These emotions are like bells of the soul, subtle warnings that only an attentive heart can understand. They speak to you from a higher plane, and when everything feels like it's falling apart, remember this. That's not the end of your story. It's the moment where Allah's wisdom begins to shine through the pain. He is guiding you, even when your heart is aching and your eyes can't see the wisdom yet. So take a deep breath. Let go of what you were clinging to and allow yourself to fall into full trust in Allah. Sometimes, when you're standing in the middle of a storm, it's hard to see the rainbow on the other side. But trust with Allah, there is always wisdom. There is always mercy behind the denial. It only looks like pain now. But later, you'll see it was pure love from your Lord. Sign 2. The hidden signs in emotional chaos. Let's talk about a different kind of sign. Not something you can always see with your eyes, but something you feel deep in your chest. Sometimes you're in a relationship that looks fine from the outside. People might even say, you two are perfect together. But inside, you're drowning. You're anxious, on edge, jealous, confused. You overthink every little thing. You feel unstable. And most of all, you feel far from peace. And the question keeps echoing in your head. If Allah placed this person in my life, why does it hurt so much? It's a valid question, one many believers struggle with in silence. But here's something you may not have been told. Allah doesn't just test your love. He tests your clarity, your discernment, your connection to Him. Not every person who walks into your life is meant to stay. Some are there as a test, not a blessing, a lesson, not a destiny. At first glance, they might seem perfect. But if the result of being with them is that your soul is in turmoil, something's not right. In Islam, there's a word for that deep inner calm, sakina, tranquility, peace of the soul. That peace is not just a feeling. It's a divine signal. When Allah is pleased with something, He sends sakina to your heart. So if, with this person, you feel the opposite, if your heart is tight, if your soul feels heavy, if you feel like you're losing your connection with Allah, that's not a random mood. That's a divine red flag. Allah doesn't only block relationships with circumstances. Sometimes, He blocks them through your heart. If every time you imagine your future with this person, your chest tightens. If your du'as feel empty, your prayers feel distant, your soul feels unsettled, that's a sign. It's not punishment. It's not failure. It's Allah whispering to you, "This is not the path I chose for you." Even if the person looks good on the outside, even if you feel attached, if the relationship slowly pulls you away from Allah, it's not love. It's a trap. And Allah, in His mercy, is trying to free you before you fall deeper. So listen to your heart. And more importantly, listen to your soul. Sign 3. When every halal path becomes blocked, you're trying to do it right. You're not rushing. You're not hiding. You're committed to following Allah's way, to build something real, something halal. You involve your family. You keep your intentions pure. You seek guidance. You pray. You're not just chasing love, you're chasing blessed love. But every time you take a step forward, something stops you. Every door slams shut. Every discussion ends in confusion. Every effort feels like hitting a wall. It's not laziness. It's not a lack of prayer. You've done your part. But still, the road just doesn't open. You start to ask, why would Allah put this desire in my heart and then keep me from it? But sometimes that's exactly how Allah answers your dua. Not by saying yes, but by saying, I have something better. If every effort to make the relationship halal fails, if doing things the right way only leads to more frustration, more chaos, more distance, then listen carefully. This might not be your path. Not because you didn't try hard enough, not because you weren't sincere, but because Allah, in His infinite knowledge, is protecting your deen, your soul, your future. It's not an invitation to twist Islam to fit your desires. It's a sign to let go. Don't try to keep the relationship alive in secrecy, in sin, in compromise. If it can't exist in light, it shouldn't exist in the dark. Sometimes, the clearest guidance Allah gives is closed doors. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's confusing. But if the only way forward means going against Allah's boundaries, then know that what you're chasing was never written for you. And what's not written for you will never bring you peace. Sign 4. When darkness surrounds the relationship. Now let's talk about something very serious. A type of sign many ignore because it hides behind what we call love. When a relationship is truly from Allah, it brings light into your life. It brings you closer to Him. It encourages more prayer, more repentance, more purity, more peace. But if the relationship does the opposite, if it drags you down, if it brings constant temptation, if it weakens your deen, clouds your mind, or traps you in sin, then you are standing in darkness, not light. Sometimes we confuse emotional excitement with spiritual truth. But real love, love blessed by Allah, does not push you into sin. It pulls you toward Jannah. So if this person leads you into haram, if conversations are impure, if your heart becomes more attached to them than to Allah, that's not love, that's spiritual danger. And here's the mercy. Even darkness can be a sign, a warning, a divine alarm going off in your soul. So hear this truth, even if it's hard. If the relationship is pulling you into darkness, then that very darkness might be the light Allah is using to lead you out. Don't ignore that feeling. Don't justify what is clearly draining your soul. Because no matter how much you care for someone, if being with them is taking you away from Allah, then how could it ever lead to a future that pleases Him? In Islam, intentions matter, yes, but so do the effects of those intentions. It's not just about what you meant. It's about what it's doing to your heart, your soul, your connection with your Creator. You might think, but this relationship makes me feel loved. But ask yourself honestly, does it also make you feel peace? Allah doesn't just look at what you're doing. He looks at what it's doing to you. And if what you're in is slowly dimming your inner light, if it makes dhikr harder, if your du'as feel distant, if guilt follows every interaction, that's not just discomfort. That's divine communication. Allah is talking to you, not through words, but through your heart. You don't need to wait for something dramatic to happen. Sometimes the signs are quiet, subtle, but constant. That tightness in your chest, that spiritual fatigue, that sinking feeling after every message or call, those are not coincidences. They are gentle warnings, protection dressed as pain. Because even if this person felt like you're missing peace, even if they were your comfort in a chaotic world, it might take stepping back to finally see the truth. What you thought was love was actually a hidden storm, a spiritual trap that Allah, out of love, is pulling you out of. So please, don't cling to someone just because you're afraid of the void. Allah knows how hard it is, and He never removes without preparing to replace with something better. Sign 5. The inevitable return to yourself. And now, maybe the most important sign of all. When the heartbreak finally settles, when the messages stop, when the doors close, and you're left alone. That silence might feel unbearable at first. You might ask yourself, why did I end up alone after all this? But dear heart, that silence is not abandonment. It's a divine invitation, a sacred pause, a moment created by Allah Himself, just for you. Because sometimes the person had to leave, so that you could return to what truly matters, to the one you forgot in the middle of the noise, Allah. Maybe you were so focused on the love of a human being that you slowly lost sight of the one who created your heart in the first place. Allah says to you, come back to me before you seek someone else to walk this path with you. He's not punishing you with loneliness. He's gifting you a moment to rebuild, not just your future, but your faith. This is your time to reconnect with the one who never left, to heal under the light of His mercy, to restore the peace that only comes from His presence. Because before you can truly love someone in peace, you must first find peace in loving Him. And when you finally surrender, when you trust that His plan is better, you'll feel the shift. That crushing loneliness will become quiet calm. That ache in your heart will become a whisper of hope. That confusion will begin to clear, and you'll realize this was never just a breakup. It was a divine realignment, not to break you, but to bring you back to the only love that never fails. This wasn't a loss, it was a return. If you've made it this far into the video, then I know you're not just here by chance. Something inside you is searching. You're seeking answers. You're carrying a pain that maybe no one else sees, but Allah does. And this, right here, this video, is His gentle reminder to you. I did not abandon you. I am guiding you. Maybe you're going through a breakup right now. Maybe your heart feels torn. Maybe you're questioning everything. But please don't forget this one powerful truth. Allah never takes something away without preparing something better. He removes what will harm your soul, even when your heart is still begging for it to stay. He blocks what looks good on the outside because He knows the storms that lie ahead. He closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you, to redirect you to something purer, brighter, safer. A love that begins not with desperation, but with divine light. So, what now? Now that you've seen these signs, listen, not just with your ears, but with your heart. What has your soul been trying to tell you all along, with Allah's help? And if this message spoke to you, I want to hear from you. Share in the comments. Have you ever been in a relationship that felt so right, but everything kept falling apart anyway? Like this video if you want more content about divine signs, relationships, and the wisdom Allah places in every chapter of our lives. Subscribe to our channel so you don't miss another reminder that helps you find your way back to clarity, light, and faith. Because you are not lost. You are not forgotten. You are guided by the one who loves you most, Allah.